You wouldn't expect a university scandal to start with tutoring sessions. But at Westbridge University, an elite private college tucked away in upstate New York, a quiet final-year student and a beloved economics professor crossed a line neither of them could walk back. What began as innocent office hours soon spiraled into a forbidden relationship, secret meetings, and a trail of university fraud no one saw coming. By the time the truth surfaced, reputations were destroyed, and the school's integrity shattered. Westbridge was known for its manicured lawns, Gothic buildings, and high-achieving students. Faculty were carefully chosen, and Dr. Marcus Bell was a star among them, respected, charming, and always surrounded by eager undergrads. Among his students was Camille Rivers, a brilliant and quietly ambitious senior. Everyone noticed her, professors included. She was the kind of student who didn't just pass exams. She asked the questions no one else thought to ask. But when macroeconomic theory started to give her trouble, Camille booked an office hour with Dr. Bell. It was routine, professional. At first, what happened next didn't feel like a scandal, it felt like connection. They talked about models and market forces, then about books, politics, music. Camille found herself lingering after sessions. Dr. Bell didn't seem to mind. They didn't plan to fall for each other. But during one late afternoon, with rain tapping against the window and textbooks long forgotten, they kissed. That kiss changed everything. Dr. Marcus Bell knew the line he had crossed. His mind told him to stop. His heart wouldn't listen. Every time Camille looked at him with trust, with love, it tore at him. He wasn't just her professor, he was her secret. And if that secret ever got out, it wouldn't just cost him his job. It could destroy her future, too. But even with all that, he couldn't end it. He had never felt so seen, so understood. One afternoon, Camille waited alone in his office while he stepped out to take a call. Looking for a book on his shelf, she knocked over a folder by accident. As she bent down to gather the scattered pages, something caught her eye: documents with student payment records. She skimmed them, then read more carefully. Wait, these charges shouldn't exist. She had seen the official budget. The school had already funded these items. So why were students paying again? Her hands trembled as she realized what she was holding: proof of financial fraud. It wasn't just a billing error. It looked organized, deliberate, covered up. When Dr. Bell returned, Camille confronted him. First, he tried to dismiss it. "It's probably just outdated paperwork," he said. But Camille wasn't buying it. She pressed harder. "This isn't a mistake. I've heard rumors. These papers confirm them. We have to do something." Dr. Bell froze. He knew she was right, and he knew what doing something would cost. If they exposed this, powerful people would retaliate. Investigations would start. Their secret affair would surface. Dr. Bell promised he'd look into it. But in truth, he was stalling. He had no intention of stirring up trouble, not with what was already at stake. Camille, though, didn't wait around for permission. She rushed off to her next class, still fired up, and told her classmates everything. About the shady charges, the budget cover-ups, and the documents she'd found in his office. They were stunned. Why are we paying for things the school already funded? The news spread like wildfire. Later that evening, Camille met Dr. Bell outside his office. "I told them," she said plainly. "The class. They needed to know." Dr. Bell's face went pale. He realized, in that moment, that they were both on a ticking clock. One leak, one rumor, one email traced back, and their entire affair could blow wide open. Not to mention his wife, his career, her academic record. They needed a plan, and fast. That night, they struck a deal. If they were going to expose corruption, they had to keep their own hands clean. Camille began collecting testimonies from classmates, stories of sketchy payments, unexplained fees, hushed refunds. Meanwhile, Dr. Bell searched quietly through admin systems, pulling budget files, cross-checking dates. They met in empty offices, exchanged notes through encrypted apps, and acted cold in public. But behind closed doors, the danger only drew them closer. Their relationship became a paradox, equal parts mission and secret romance. They were fighting for justice by day and hiding a scandal by night, and the more they uncovered, the more dangerous it all became. It didn't take long for Westbridge University to notice. Students were talking, questions were being asked, and soon whispers turned into action. The administration quietly launched an internal investigation. A review committee was formed. Faculty were questioned. Budgets were audited. And for the first time in years, those who had benefited from the system's silence felt fear creeping in. Camille and Dr. Bell felt the pressure almost immediately. It started with a torn envelope slipped under Camille's dorm door. "You're making a mistake. Walk away." Then came a scribbled message left in Dr. Bell's faculty mailbox. "We know what you're doing." They were being watched. The people behind the corruption were powerful and desperate, and now they were playing dirty. But Camille refused to back down, and Dr. Bell, now fully in, couldn't abandon her. The mission had become personal, but so had the danger. The very people they were trying to expose struck back with their own investigation. They hired a private investigator to dig into Dr. Bell's past. And what they found? Dark. Years before Camille, Dr. Bell had exchanged grades for favors with multiple female students. He had hidden it well. Camille had never known. Now, the ones under fire had ammunition of their own. If Camille and Dr. Bell pushed further, they'd be exposed. Not just for the affair, but for every buried scandal. It had become a war of secrets, a ticking time bomb of reputation and truth. And no one on either side was safe. It was an anonymous email. No name, no sender. Just one line in the subject. "You should know what your professor is doing after hours." Inside were time-stamped photos, meeting logs, location tags, Camille Rivers, Dr. Marcus Bell, together, alone, repeatedly. The university's ethics board was stunned. They had suspected something, but this confirmed it. The administration moved fast: surveillance, email monitoring, schedule cross-checks. As the investigation deepened, it got worse. Someone inside the committee dug up old sealed reports from nearly a decade earlier, hidden complaints from former students, all against Dr. Bell. He had a past, pattern. Several women had accused him of offering better grades in exchange for discreet arrangements. Most of those complaints had quietly disappeared until now. Camille had known none of this. The day she found out, she couldn't speak. She stared at the documents, at the screenshots, at the version of him she never imagined. She had fought beside him, believed in him, loved him. Now she saw the truth. She wasn't the exception. She was part of a pattern. Her heartbreak was visceral, made worse by the whispers already swirling through campus. Was she a victim? A willing participant? A manipulator? Camille didn't know who she was anymore, only that her future might already be tainted. The university set up a full tribunal. Senior faculty, legal advisors, closed-door hearings. Westbridge's pristine reputation was crumbling. As the hearings unfolded, the scandals burst into public view. Multiple department heads were tied to financial fraud. The stolen funds, the false fees. It was bigger than anyone expected. But the headlines weren't just about the money. They were about Dr. Bell, the beloved professor, the predator, the affair with Camille, the buried history of coercion and abuse. Camille and Dr. Bell were summoned to testify. The tribunal room felt more like a courtroom. Rows of tenured professors, legal advisors, and university executives sat waiting, faces unreadable, pens poised. The questions came hard and fast. When did the relationship begin? Was there coercion? Who else had access to the documents? Are there more victims? Every word they spoke was dissected. Every glance between them was analyzed. Camille tried to stay composed. Dr. Bell looked hollow, like a man watching his career crumble in real time. One misstep could end them both. Just when things couldn't get worse, Camille sat in a packed economics lecture trying to stay invisible. Then the door burst open. "Camille Rivers!" Gasps echoed as a woman stormed in, heels sharp, voice shaking. It was Marcia Bell, Dr. Bell's wife. Every student froze. Phones came out. The professor at the podium stepped aside. "Get out here," Marcia demanded, eyes locked on Camille. "Now." Camille stood slowly, legs numb. She stepped into the hallway, into the storm. "How dare you?" Marcia's voice cracked. "You think you can destroy my family and just keep walking these halls like nothing happened?" Camille trembled, heart thudding in her chest. "I'm sorry," she began, barely above a whisper. But Marcia cut her off. "You're just a kid. I trusted him, and you let him." The hallway fell silent as students peeked out, phones recording, some in shock, others too entertained to look away. And then, "Marcia, stop." Dr. Bell had arrived. His face was pale. He looked defeated. "Please," he said, voice low, "let's not do this here." "Here?" she snapped, tears streaming. "You humiliated me everywhere." Then she turned to the students watching. "Since you all think he's some brilliant professor, let me tell you the truth, he's a predator. He's been doing this for years." Camille tried to slip away quietly. She was humiliated, ashamed, afraid. But Marcia Bell caught her in mid-step. "Don't you dare leave," she snapped. "You need to hear every word of this." Then she turned to her husband. "How long?" she demanded, voice breaking. How many others were there before her? Dr. Bell's voice was barely audible. "It was a mistake. A terrible mistake. I love you, but I've been weak." "Weak?" Marcia's hands trembled. "This isn't weakness. It's betrayal." Then she looked around, at the students now silently filming, their phones raised like court reporters in a scandal. "You all think he's a respected professor?" she said. "He's not. He's a predator. A fraud. He preys on girls who don't see it coming." Gasps rippled through the hallway. The dean arrived, cutting through the tension like a blade. "Enough," he said. "Everyone back to class." Campus security stepped in, escorting Camille, Dr. Bell, and Marcia to a private office. The students slowly scattered, still stunned by what they'd witnessed, some still recording, others too shaken to speak. The tribunal wrapped quickly after that. The verdict was swift and brutal. Multiple administrators were removed. A new compliance board was announced. Financial fraud charges were filed. And Westbridge University, once a beacon of prestige, was now a national headline for all the wrong reasons. The news went viral. Parents pulled their kids. Donors withdrew funds. Trust evaporated overnight. The school promised reform, but the damage was done. What started with a whisper between two people ended with a reckoning that shook the institution to its core. Dr. Marcus Bell turned in his resignation the following week. No press release, no final lecture, just a 2-paragraph letter tucked into a manila envelope. He packed his office in silence. Books, papers, framed awards that now felt meaningless. Each item reminded him of a choice he made and a boundary he crossed. As he stepped out of Westbridge University for the last time, he felt two things at once: sorrow and relief. He had lost everything: his job, his students' respect, and his marriage. But part of him knew the truth needed to come out, even if it burned everything down. Camille didn't leave. She stayed, even as students whispered behind her back, even as professors avoided eye contact, even as every walk across campus felt like walking through fire. But she had told the truth, and she held on to that. Her circle shrank, but those who stood beside her reminded her that what she did mattered. When graduation day came, she stood in her cap and gown, proud, not because it was easy, but because she made it through. She didn't erase her past. She carried it forward with resolve. Dr. Bell's marriage didn't survive. His wife filed for divorce. There were no public statements, no apologies, just silence and signatures on legal paper. They parted ways quietly, both carrying wounds that wouldn't heal anytime soon. Some stories end not with a happy resolution, but with a lesson scorched into memory. Love, power, truth, and betrayal collided, and in the wreckage, lives were changed forever. But maybe, just maybe, justice means being willing to lose everything to do the right thing.